Well, it's that time once again. I'm here today in the beautiful San Fernando Valley, and you know, it's the holiday season. I'm still missing Halloween. Thanksgiving just passed. Christmas is coming up. The anniversary of my dad passing away was in early November, so all of those things have been on my mind, and so I'm sure I'm going to be talking about some of those things in today's video. So, let's go see what we can find. Another San Fernando Valley business that's been here for decades has permanently closed. I'm currently sitting in front of Universal City Nissan. If you ever traveled on the 101 going from the Valley to Hollywood or out to East LA or downtown LA, you've driven right by Universal City Nissan. Now, personally, I have never shopped at this dealership. I've never even bought a brand new Nissan. I've owned a couple of 80s Nissans, but I've passed by it, you know, countless times. And more than that, the commercials, and especially if you listen to Power 106 in the 90s, Big Boy from Power 106 was the spokesperson.
Big Boy, Universal City Nissan, another one of my 106 reasons why you need to come down to Universal City Nissan.
If anybody even says they say Universal City or Nissan, it doesn't have to be the complete sentence. If you just say one of those two things to me, my brain will automatically say Universal City Nissan. I had a friend who is no longer with us, my friend Aaron. He worked at a restaurant, and one day he had to deliver food to Universal City Nissan. And there was a meeting going on with Big Boy. And I guess Big Boy was upset that his food was in some kind of a container that he didn't like, and Big Boy cussed him out. I don't know if that story is true. Big Boy, please don't get mad. That was the story he told me. I wasn't able to find out what year Universal City Nissan opened. I was trying to find it online and I couldn't find that, but I do know that it's been here for decades. I did find a lot of people talking badly about it. A lot of people saying it had the worst staff and the worst mechanics. I don't know. I never came here, but it seems like there are a lot of people that didn't like it. But I feel like that can be said of just about every car dealership. All those offices in there, empty. All the people that worked here are now out of a job. I think I read somewhere around 80 or 90 people lost their job. You can see up there above the door, the Nissan logo blacked out. So you can see right up there is Universal Studios, and then right here you've got the 101 freeway. You've got cars passing by all day and all night. So this was a really good location. I guess that's why they were here for so long. And right across the street, does anybody remember the stupid story that I told about this building? Hopefully not. So talking about Universal City Nissan got me thinking about another car dealership that's a lot cooler, and it's right around the corner from Universal City Nissan. This is North Hollywood Toyota, home of $0 down. All right, I don't care about that. What I care about is back in the day, this dealership was famous or infamous for being decked out in mannequins. So apparently this all began in 1990. They had a car parked in this parking structure facing the freeway. The 134 runs right by here. And so they had a car parked in that parking structure, and the manager here thought that it would be cool to put a body in the car waving at all of the vehicles passing by on the freeway. And so he went to buy a mannequin, and when he did that, he found that they gave him a way better deal if he bought multiple mannequins. But now he had all of these extra mannequins and he didn't know what to do with them. So he started placing them other places on the parking structure. There was someone over here looking at cars, you know, another person over in this area. And at one point, they even had a mannequin hanging off one of the railings, looking like they were falling from the parking structure. And the police got a lot of calls about it, and the dealership ended up getting fined. And so they never did that again. I might be making this up, but I swear I remember something with an airplane. Like they had the tail of an airplane sticking out of the parking structure, making it look like it crashed into the building. Please tell me in the comments if you remember anything like that. But yeah, so they would have mannequins here doing different stuff. You know, the first time you saw it, it was really weird and you were like, what the heck is going on? And then as the years went by, it just became part of normal life here in the San Fernando Valley. When I was trying to find information about it online, I found some stories where it talked about people that worked in the office buildings right around this dealership, how freaked out they were by the mannequins. And I also found a lot of people on Reddit talking about how much they absolutely hated. They could have caused so many accidents on the freeway. And the only thing that I find weird about that is that you're not saying the same thing about billboards, and especially those newer electronic billboards. Like, I don't know why you would have such strong feelings about mannequins at a car dealership. Now, some other stuff that I found online when I was trying to find more information was about the lady who took care of the mannequins. And every couple of months, she would have to come out here and change the outfits. And apparently she had like tons of those big plastic bins just full of clothes that were donated by the people that worked here at the dealership. You know, you would drive by these mannequins all the time, and just like that, they were gone, and nobody really knows why. You know, I'm sure the people at this dealership know why, but yeah, I miss those mannequins. Anybody else? Little update for you guys on Valley Plaza. In my last video, I talked about how the city declared it a public nuisance, and that now gave them the right to start demolishing it, and that's exactly what they're doing. A couple of the buildings are already down. This one is completely down. The one right next to it, they are in the process of taking it down. This one on the other side of the parking lot, I think this was Blockbuster Video in some superhero movie, but this one is also in the process of coming down. The entire front is off. You can see it's all caved in on the inside. The businesses that were still in business, like the dialysis place and Q and this clinic, they are still there. They look like they're still in business. IHOP is still in business. So maybe they're not going to be tearing those down. Now, the best news of all is the movie theater is 100% still intact. It looks like they may not be tearing that down. I see some workers going in and out of it like they're doing work on the inside. So fingers crossed, they might not be tearing down the movie theater. Also, the Valley Plaza Tower, I talked about in my last video, how there's supposedly no plans to tear that down, and that appears to be true. And I'll try and keep you guys up to date as things progress. Not only do I really hope that they're not planning to tear this building down, but I hope that if they do save this building, they don't change the outside of it, because I love the style of this building so much. Like, everything about it just looks really awesome. So I just stumbled across something that completely broke my heart. I just drove by my grandparents' old house in Reseda. They didn't live there anymore. Both my, well, actually all four of my grandparents have passed away. But it appears that recently there was a fire at the house. I see fire damage and all of the windows are boarded up, but also the entire second story is gone. It kind of hit me hard because, without going into like hours and hours of explanations, I did not have much of a relationship with my grandparents. They were not the type, they just weren't those type of people. They didn't like put out a lot of love. But however, I spent so much time at that house. Every Christmas, every Halloween, Easter. I've got lots of videos of me there on Christmas. For some reason, no videos of Halloween, which really bums me out. There's pictures of me there on Halloween, but there's lots of videos of me on Christmas. You know, we would have Christmas morning at my house, and then we would head over in the afternoon to my grandparents' house, and then we would always have Christmas dinner there. And then Halloween was the other big holiday there. There was like endless candy. They must have spent hundreds of dollars, but you went there for three things: hot dogs, chili, and cake. The hot dogs were crap, but the chili was like their famous chili recipe that everybody loved. And you would go, you'd have like 2 or 3 bowls of chili, and then they would always send you home with a, you know, a big butter bowl full of chili. But the cake, still, like, I get cravings for that cake all the time. And as an adult, I came to find out that it was just box cake. But the icing, she made her own icing, and I guess that's what made the cake taste unique. And I found out that the icing was like 90% lard, and they were always decorated really good. I don't have a lot of really awesome things that I can say about my grandma, but I can say that she made a mean cake, and she was a really awesome cake decorator. So, you know, I've seen a lot of stuff from my childhood get torn down. But so far, none of the places I lived, all of the houses and apartment buildings I lived in are still standing. So this is the closest. And like I said in the beginning of this video, I was talking about the holidays, and I was also talking about my dad coming over here on the holidays. My dad and I would kind of be the loners, especially when I got older. There were like 2 living rooms in this house, and everyone would be in the living room that was at the back of the house, and my dad and I would go to the living room at the front of the house, and we would just sit there and we would eat our dinner and talk. And then later, when my wife and I started dating and she would go over there with me, then it would be me and my wife and my dad. And also, I don't have a lot of pictures with my dad because he absolutely hated being on camera. I've only got a couple of pictures with him. One of the last, if not the last picture of me and my dad together, and probably the best picture of me and my dad together, was taken right in front of that house. He was leaning up against my Lincoln Town Car, and I walked over and leaned up against the car next to him. I think I was holding my cousin's Speak and Spell or something like that. And for whatever reason, my dad didn't flip off the camera. He didn't give a dirty look. I don't know, maybe he flipped it off right after. Anyways, seeing that just made me really sad, and wanted to share my feelings with you guys. As I drive around, I'm just noticing the lack of Christmas spirit. Not too many decorations. I mean, no decorations by the city. That's, you know, been a long time. But yeah, I would say the majority of houses that I'm passing by do not have any decorations. I was out here the other night, and hardly any of the houses had Christmas lights on them. You know, and you think back in the day when, you know, probably 75–80% of the houses had Christmas lights and were decorated, and I don't know, now it's like 20%. And remember when grocery stores and other businesses would get decorated for the holidays and they would paint the windows? But I haven't seen those painted windows in a long time. And that was the best. Okay, so we're out here in the valley driving around, and we just stumbled upon them doing some filming again. I just put out a video the other day that I caught them in Hollywood filming something that was set in the 80s, and they're now in the valley on Sherman Way, and I'm pretty sure this is connected to the same thing that I saw them filming in Hollywood the other day. Look at this, they've got an old RTD bus out here. I have not seen an RTD bus in, I don't know when it stopped being RTD. Oh my gosh. This is bringing back so many memories. It's not fair. I want this to be real life. I don't know if you can see it, but they're filming like a some kind of a driving scene. They've got the, I don't know what you call that, the car with the camera mounted on it. A bunch of old cars right there at the corner. And there they go. Right in front of the old Cobalt Cafe. Too cool. And you got 70s and 80s cars on both sides of the street, obviously to make it look like, you know, traffic going back and forth. You can see the cars on the opposite side of the street. They just keep coming down and then making a U-turn and going back. Oh, it feels good to be out here on Sherman Way and just see all these 80s cars driving up and down the street. So while we were watching them film that driving scene, my son actually saw on the clapper, this is for something called The Shards, and we just looked it up. I guess it's a TV show that's set in the 80s. Porsche is coming down this way now. So according to what we read online, the show is something about a kid that goes to a prep school and there's a killer, and it's set in the 80s. So excited because it's 80s and it's filmed in the valley, and well, not entirely in the valley if this is connected to what I saw the other day, and it probably is because, you know, There was the LAPD cars. It looked like, you know, it was a crime scene. There was a coroner. You had all these cars here just waiting to be told when it's their turn. And that's what filming is. If you've never been involved in any kind of a production, it's a lot of just waiting around. Oh, old Datsun mini truck over there. Look at that. Love it. And here they go. They're filming right now. They're coming right by us. Oh. Oh my gosh, just seeing all of these 80s cars going up and down the street. Okay, now look at this station wagon going by. I swear to God that's the same station wagon that's in every episode of Chips. No? I don't know. I'm gonna go home and do some comparisons. Just noticing while all these cars are waiting, you know, all the drivers are sitting in the cars waiting around, and you know, they're decked out in their 80s clothes and their 80s cars, but they're all just sitting there on their smartphones. A reminder that this is all just a fantasy. Of course, this one right here, my favorite. Beautiful. And then this right here, this was my second car, Chevy Chevette, but in white. Man, it was a piece of crap. Couldn't go on the freeway because if you went over 35 miles an hour, it started shaking. Oh my gosh, it smells like the 80s out here because of all of the fumes coming from the cars. Oh, here they go. Little chase scene going on there. We didn't get it too good because the sun. We came back, it's a little later in the day. I couldn't help it seeing all these cool cars. That's the main car right there that's doing the chase scene. Anyways, I couldn't help it seeing all these awesome 80s cars out here. I had to come back. So honestly, we came back because I am convinced that that red station wagon is the same one from Chips. And I'm like, I gotta go back. I gotta find out who owns it and talk to them. And so we just came back and we walked the whole street, and that wagon appears to be gone. I'm gonna find it one day. Oh my gosh, we found it. We found their base camp a couple miles away. They're actually, their base camp is in the parking lot of the old Promenade Mall, and we found where they have all of the cars parked. And so we found the wagon, but I'm sad to say it is not the one from Chips. Very close, very similar. Oh well, one day I'm gonna find it, but look at this. It's like going to a car show. Beautiful. Look at this van. Oh, and we found the bus, the RTD bus. Oh my gosh, I filmed that bus. Too cool. And it looks like they just wrapped filming down the street, so all the cars are showing up. Got a nice little parade of 80s and 70s cars. Oh, and there is the main car, the chase car. So cool. Little update on the Northridge Cupids. It's reopened and it's now Tacos 1986. Now I've been seeing a lot of these pop up. I have not tried it, but it must be pretty good because, like I said, they seem to be popping up everywhere. And you can see They left the Cupid sign, the heart with the arrow going through it, which makes me kind of sad because if you're just driving by and you kind of glance at it, you think it's still Cupid's, but it's not. But it's also kind of cool that they didn't change things too much, and it's kind of a nod to Cupid's. But anyways, like I said, I think I might have to try this. I like the name, Tacos 1986, and it must be good because it seems to be growing quickly. Any of you guys tried it? Is it any good? Let me know. But this right here, this was the Cupid's that we mostly came to. I think originally we mostly went to the one in Van Nuys, right across from the Terminator gun shop. But once that one closed, this was the one that we came to most of the time. And then every once in a while, we would go to the one by CSUN. You know, being here right now and thinking about my dad while I'm doing this video, it reminded me of another dad story. I was here one night with my mom and my dad and my brother, and our car was parked right here. And we always had an older car. I believe at the time we had a Dodge Dart Swinger. And my dad was over here checking the water level in the car while the rest of us were finishing up our hot dogs right over there at those tables. And once we got finished, we came walking over here, and right as we were getting to the car, my dad slammed the hood, and when he did, he yelled out in pain, and I looked over and I saw that his thumb was under the hood, and I panicked. I ran over to the other side of the car and I jumped in and I pulled the hood release. I remember my heart was pounding. I was so freaked out, and I looked up and I see my entire family just standing there staring at me. I remember I looked at my brother and he was just looking at me, laughing and shaking his head, giving me this look like I was so stupid. And I looked at my mom and she kind of had a look on her face like she felt sorry for me. And I looked at my dad and he had the same look. He was kind of grinning and shaking his head and kind of had his shoulders and his head down. And I was really confused. And then I figured it out. He didn't really slam the hood on his thumb. He had tucked his thumb under to make it look like he did. And it was supposed to be a joke, and everybody got it except for me. I was very gullible. I miss my dad and his sense of humor. So I was just talking about how there's not enough Christmas spirit anymore and how none of the grocery stores have those Christmas paintings on their windows. And then I come here to Cupid's, and right next door is the extremely delicious Dagla's, and they have a bunch of those old school looking Christmas paintings on their windows. Really awesome. You know what? This doesn't really surprise me that much because Dagla's, like I said, very delicious, and it's that old school type of burger place. So it makes sense that they would do this. Good job, Dagla's. I love it. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.